beautiful opportunity to go and spend time in nature and be surrounded by these beautiful natural elements. The natural history and the cultural history of our state are something that are so dynamic. And today's a celebration of that in a way. If you look even further into the details of this picture, you see the light bulb standing on top of a brain with kind of like flexing its muscles, which is standing on top of a stack of books. This speaks to my history as an educator. I was a first grade teacher and a third grade teacher for a long time. And I taught in the Fullerton School District. If you've ever been down the freeway from Hacienda del Puente, you come right into the Fullerton area. That's where I was a teacher for almost 20 years. And so the apple represents that. And it celebrates just kind of like the part of my story that's a teacher. And all of these smiley faces represent community and the students that I work with and the educators that I now work with in my roles. And as we come up into the top part of the screen, you'll see the two companies that I have spent time working with since I left the Fullerton School District. I spent a lot of time working for a company called Microsoft on a product called Flipgrid. You might remember it from years ago, but it was a video communication tool where students got to share their authentic voice. And I love this because I love helping students tell their story. We're at Adobe now. I'm on a mission to empower every person to use creativity to tell their story. But it's not just students. I actually get to help educators around the world. So that's visually what this laptop and an image of the globe represents. And I put an artist's palette right next to it because Adobe is a creativity company. And you're using Adobe Express to create content or make movies or animate characters or create digital assets like we're going to today to celebrate our identities, but in an imaginative way. And I love this group of people standing hand in hand because the educators and the students that I support around the world are beautifully, wonderfully, amazingly diverse. And I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to learn with and from each other because I'm different from them and they're different from me. And that's what makes us better together. You can see my name is here in the corner. Of course, my first name is Ann. And then I added a few little elements at the bottom with this sugar skull and a sunset over Joshua tree that just speak to my family and special things about my family. We have celebrated our family members, and my sister and I have represented like our history and our shared experience through the exchanging of skulls. And you see the sugar skull. My family uses that to honor and celebrate the people in our family in extended ways as we remember them. And then this is my favorite place on the planet, Joshua Tree National Park, which is over way past Riverside and Palm Springs. But it's my favorite place to go spend time in nature. So you've learned a little bit about me. And what I want to do is go to the next slide and ask you to consider a few new questions. Who is in your community? What is their story? And how can we celebrate all of the cultures in our community? And what's really cool about this, when you look at this screen, you notice how very different each of those quilt squares are. And teachers who are listening in, imagine this. After your students create their quilt square, you could put this on display in your community. You could put this on a bulletin board. You could put it on your classroom door. You could have students share, showcase, and celebrate their quilt square in so many different ways. And I want to point out how people used outlines of states and outlines of countries. People have put different shapes. People have put food and things about their country, music, dance, holidays, colors. All of these different details represent and evoke a sense of identity. So as you think about creating your quilt square, think about the details you are going to want to add. What is something that makes you, you? And I look at that picture, and Shell has an axolotl because she loves axolotls. And Claudio has a bicycle because he loves to ride bicycles. And Dom is from the United Kingdom, so he has the country represented. And let's see, Wezzy is from like New York, so she has the outline of New York. Meredith in the bottom right corner is from a country called Wales, so he has the Welsh dragon. And Nicole has Northern Ireland. Our team is made up from people all around the world. And what's really cool is we learn about each other, we broaden our minds, we expand our perspectives, and we realize how lucky are we that we get to learn about others and celebrate their story. Now, I started this way to give you some big picture visuals because I wanted you to kind of see and understand how these quilt squares can come to life. But look at this. These are some big takeaways. These students represented all of their cultures. Look at the different outlines of the countries represented, from Mexico to Colombia, right? Look at how the flag is the background of their outline. Look at how they've added details and elements to celebrate their identity. And the big learning moments, creativity connects us. You get to share your story. You get to learn with and from each other. And I want to challenge you that when you share your culture through art, it's like you are helping others learn, but also feel and get connected. It's like giving a gift to others that say, hey, here's something beautiful from my world, and you get to learn about their cultures and their world too. So folks, what I want to do is just jump right in and share how can you do this. Educators, what you see on screen is a visual of an Adobe Express for Education gallery. So if you're assigning this to your students through Adobe Express classrooms, or your students are turning in their work to you, these galleries are that showcase piece where it comes to life and puts the learning on display. So what I'm going to do is actually jump in to Adobe Express and in the next few minutes give you some insights for how to create and how to jump into this project. I know that the team from Hacienda La Puente said maybe you're creating in real time right now, or maybe you're doing this in the future, and that's okay. What you create today doesn't have to get finished today. It can be an ongoing project. You work in smaller chunks. But what I want to do is point out this home screen experience for Adobe Express for Education and how to find this project. We do have the project in a short link that educators can share with their students. But educators, this activity that we're going to do is actually called a guided activity. And you can find all of the guided activities right here on the screen. Students, this is how you find it too. And when you click into the guided activities, you'll notice right here, it says, create your community quilt. And this is what we're going to do together. We are going to design these quilt squares that reflect who we are. And so when I click on it and I open it up, if you are brand new to Adobe Express, I have to point out on the right side, you have a Learn panel. The educators, this is a brilliant thing to use to front load or teach your students how to create. Notice there is a 2-minute video that can be played that takes you through step by step how to complete this project. You can even caption it in English or in Spanish. You can make it go full screen, or you can even pop it out to a little window and play while you are recording. There are also step-by-step directions, step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, and 5, and it tells you exactly how to create this. So what I want to do is teach you some best practices and set you up for success so you all can create this. All right, here we go. Step 1 says, use generate image to create a patch with imagery that represents you. Keep the keywords colorful embroidery patch in the shape at the beginning and keep on a transparent background at the end. So that's what we're going to do. But before we do, you know what my first grade teacher head is saying? Name on your paper. First thing, I always sang that with my students. So I need to teach you right here at the top in the black bar, you are going to give your project a title. And I called mine Quilt Square HLP USD. That way I have a name and it automatically saves and it automatically titles your project. Another pro tip, and educators, I'm sharing this for you. Students, these 3 dots at the bottom of the page, if you click on it, you can actually duplicate the page. And now you have 2. You have this original and you have a copy. And I love doing this so that if you ever need to get back to the original one, you have that on its own page. All right. Again, anytime you click on the 3 dots, you'll see more, and that's where you find duplicate. But what I want to do is start creating, and I simply am going to click on that first image. Inside of Adobe Express, when you click on a different element, you will see that different editor pop up on the left side. Since I clicked on an image, the image editor popped up. And we are using generative AI inside of Adobe Express. So you need to look for this colorful rainbow square that says generate image. And as soon as you click on that, you have the ability to create with artificial intelligence. And the cool thing about AI inside of Adobe Express is you are using the K-12 version of this. This was designed responsibly for students from kindergarten through 12th grade to use. You do not get to go to the ends of the internet to create. You're using a sandboxed experience that's running filters for education. And also, the artificial intelligence is not training on any student or teacher work. It's using Adobe Stock Library and the images inside of the world's largest stock library for the inspiration. I love that. And that's really cool because we say this is designed responsibly for you, and we mean it. So what you simply do is click into the box where the description exists. And it says a colorful embroidery patch in the shape of, and all I do is click into the box, and I'm using my delete button. I want to delete the parts that say in the shape of Illinois because I actually don't want it to be in the shape of Illinois. And I'm going to get rid of the purple flowers and the cardinal. You can double click and delete, or you can simply use your arrow and delete, delete, delete. Now I want to create a colorful embroidery patch of a monarch butterfly on a transparent background. And I'll tell you in just a moment why I chose a monarch butterfly. But right here, you can see I didn't spell the word right, so I'm going to go back and fix it. Even if you have some little spelling errors, when you click generate, it'll understand what you're trying to say, and a new image will be generated. Now, as these pictures are coming up, I chose a monarch butterfly because my niece, her Leila, calls her my mariposa, her little butterfly. So as I think about my identity and my family, I want this butterfly to represent my niece. And if you notice right away, I can click through some different images. I can even generate more. And you'll notice the size might be off. That's okay. When I click, you see I have some editing tools to begin to drag and drop and change the size. I love teaching people to push all the buttons. So all I did was click and drag and resize. And now I have my beautiful butterfly. Now, how do I get back to that, right? Here we go. How do I get back to it? I simply click right back on that colorful image that says generate image. And I see my colorful embroidery patch. If I scroll down, I see all of those results. I can click on different ones and I can continue to generate more. I love this one because it has the oranges and the blacks that pop in such a beautiful way. Let's add some more details to this, okay? Now, educators and students, you can always start from scratch. If you see the left side of the screen where it says media, you can click on media and you can generate image. But I like shortcuts. I, of course, could generate an image and pick a size. You can always resize it. And you would start from the very beginning and need to type the words, create a colorful patch. But what I like to do you remember those 3 dots and how to duplicate? Look right here. I've clicked on my butterfly. I've clicked on those 3 dots and I've clicked duplicate. And all I'm going to do is drag this and move it to a new spot. And what's really cool, as soon as I click on my new patch and my colorful button, I still have my prompt. I still have the words colorful embroidery patch and on a transparent background. And I can go in and edit my text. Now, the butterflies and the skulls, anything that represents my family, that's what I want to add. So what I'm going to do is a colorful embroidery patch of and I do want to add a sugar skull with bright flowers. And I'm keeping the words on a transparent background, and then I simply generate text, right? I click on that text box that says generate, and the new image begins to appear. And you'll see the results get populated with different versions and different ideas. And I can click through them and see the different options. And I love, oh my gosh, I love this one with the orange flower because it kind of matches the picture of my butterfly. And you just saw that background get eliminated because in the prompt it says on a transparent background. So maybe I move this one over, and this represents my sister. All right, so this one speaks to my sister, and if you noticed, I click on it and I can change the angle. I can move this around. I can stretch it out to be a little bit bigger. And I love, again, just clicking on things and changing the elements in a little way. Now, you'll notice all of these little pictures on the right side. I'm going to speak to this for just a moment to simply show you these are the different layers of my project. And if you've already used Adobe Express, you know what these layers mean. Everything I click on shows you what element in the layer that you are working on. So you can also drag and move these. Think about the layers of a sandwich or the layers of a hamburger. If something is on the bottom or the background and something is on top, it is in the foreground. So that's just a design thing to be aware of. But I'm going to click on this text box because do you notice I now have a text editor that pops up? And what you're doing in this box is, if you want to, write something that represents you. And I'm going to zoom in on this for a moment because it says, this represents me because I'm from Illinois and I love colorful flowers and my favorite bird is the cardinal. Well, that's what the template said from the original one. My picture doesn't have those in it anymore. I have the butterfly and I have the skull. So I might click into it and I might say this represents me because the butterfly is a symbol of my niece and the skull represents my sister, right? These images mean family to me, right? And then notice I have these little things I can move, I can resize it. And I do have some open space right here. So maybe I want to click on this name and bring it up and fill in the space. And if you notice how I clicked on the name, I now can generate text effects. This is an entirely different way you can use AI and creative tools inside of Adobe Express to bring your personal color, imagery, or your own effects to life. I love this because you see when you click on it, the description says a white embroidered patch. But if you notice right here, you have inspirations. And I'm going to click on this and show you balloon, diamond glitter, disco balls, gem sticker, green gooey slime, pink balloons. Notice the natural effects. I'm going to click on this example of a cactus and let it begin to generate for you and simply show you how cool these text effects can be. Because if you wanted it to be a rainbow, it could be. If you wanted it to be coffee beans, it could be. If you wanted it to be, I don't know, apples or disco balls. Look at how cool it is when the text effects actually visually represent what you want it to. So from these natural elements down to paintings, this one says a chalkboard, this one says golden black armor or blue cushions or caramel or crispy bacon. The possibilities are endless, or you can simply create your own by clicking on that icon. So I'm going to change mine from a green cactus with pink flowers to, let's see, a sunset sky. I love sunsets and the beautiful colors. So I just wrote what I wanted it to look like and clicked generate. So we'll give that a moment. And teachers, what you'll notice is the little spinning icon, those letters turn into a black font and then it updates. I do find that sometimes generating text effects takes a few extra moments, and that's okay. Give it a moment to think and it'll update. So I'm going to zoom out and leave this on the screen and then talk about the background color, because maybe you don't want a purple quilt square. And as I get ready to wrap this up, I know I'm showing different things, and oh, look, you can see now all the different examples of that sunset sky. And I love this one. That's so beautiful. It's almost like the sun is popping into it. This is so cool. I'm going to choose this one with the clouds on the bottom and the clouds at the top. And notice I need to change the text because my name is not Aya. My name is Ann. So let me go ahead and type in Ann and give it a moment to update. All right. We've generated an image. We've changed some text. We've created custom text effects, and I want to show you how to change the background colors. Again, you can click right onto that layer in the corner, and if you'll notice now, that outside image is what's highlighted, and it shows up as purple. So over here, I have some image editing options. You simply will click on effects, and notice you have different filters, you have different tones, and I love that this is where you begin to see all of these different options. Whoa, that one's pretty bright. I do like the purple. Cobalt blue is so beautiful. Oh, that makes it pop a little bit. But do you notice this custom one? You can always go in and customize moving around with this color wheel or choosing using an eyedropper tool. So I want to show you this eyedropper tool. It allows you to custom pick a color, and I want to match this light blue from the butterfly. All right. Again, all of these are simply found under the effects. And you can see I have filled in my name. I'm going to move it a little bit. I'm going to move my skull, and actually I'm going to change that color because I think it needs to be just a little bit darker. Try this one. No, I like this one. All right, that is my quilt square. And the really cool thing is I have just told a little bit about me. I have used my own creativity, my own imagination, and I have brought this to life in completely new ways. Now, awesome. Yay, Mrs. Ruiz from Baldwin Academy. I see that comment on this kid. Kids are just running with it, and I love to hear that with a little bit of instruction, which is why I say push all the buttons. They can see possibilities. And the examples we showed at the beginning and then coming to life in this new way, you can always begin to personalize. And if you want the structure and the support, you have the directions right on screen. And I love this. It gives you a visual. It shows you what to do. Now, as we get ready to think about how do we share this? How do I share this with my teacher? How do I turn it in? What do I need to do? On the top of your screen, you'll notice that download button. You have this in all of the digital programs and tools that you use. You have the ability to choose what kind of file format you want. And for a picture like this or a digital asset like this, folks typically choose PNG or JPG. Those are image files. You, of course, if you wanted to, could save it as a PDF. If we were to add any other visual elements to this that are video-based elements, you would see other file formats to download with. So that's one way that you can take it and download it and turn it in. Educators, if you're sharing this in your Adobe Express classrooms, your students would see a big purple button that says turn in. And I know your TOSA team, there are other ideas or instructions or directions that were shared with you in the email communication, but there is flexibility for how y'all can create and flexibility for how you can download or share or turn it in. So I want to take a moment and pause and invite my friends from the HLP-USD TOSA team to come back and let me know if questions are coming up or how I can help clarify. So Baldwin Academy, Los Altos, Ms. Nelson's fourth graders, Mr. Johnson's class, give me a wave. How did y'all do? Were you able to hang in there? I see all the waves. I see all of this. And I hope you see so many possibilities for how to share your story, how to tell about your culture or your heritage, how to talk about the things you love and make you you. I hope that you can see yourself in your own special identity, but I hope your brain feels supercharged with innovation and imagination and creativity too. So thanks, y'all. This has been so cool. And I know we have Q&A coming up too. Ms. Castro, how's it going? How are we doing?
Miss Kozma, I am so excited to do my own. But I know our kids are super excited. So teachers, don't worry. We'll be sending you instructions on how to get this set up so that you have access to all of your student projects. And what's great is Ann took us through the guided activities, which it's self-run. The kids will know how to do it even before we get our hands on it. So we're so excited. And so not only that, if you enter your projects to us, we'll be sending out more information. You could be entered in another raffle for some Adobe swag and also for a classroom visit because Miss Ann Kozma is coming to our district. She wants to meet some of you in person. So please work on these projects, get them to us, and have a chance to meet her in person, which is an amazing opportunity. But before you go, we wanted to give our classes that were live with us a chance to ask any questions from our wonderful Ann here. So let's start with Mr. Ruiz from Baldwin Academy. You're the first one I see on my screen. Would you like to ask a question to Ann?
Yes, let me get a student up here.
Good morning. My name is Mercedes Gonzalez. I'm a fifth grader in Miss Ruiz's class at Baldwin Academy. My question is, how do you come up with new ideas when you're stuck?
Oh my gosh, Mercedes. And to your class, that is such great. I always talked about brain power with my students. And so everything we have in here from our brain power and everything we have in here from our heart, those are other special things that make us us. Sometimes we feel stuck. You know what I like to do when I feel stuck? I like to move. I like to stand up and dance a little. I like to wiggle. I like to listen to music. I like to go outside, or I like to stare out the window because sometimes I need my brain to just shift, right? And that's okay. Other things, I take inspiration from what's around me. I might look at a painting on the wall, or I might look at a bird outside the window. And then I start thinking about different things and I let my imagination just kind of go with it. The other thing I really do, and I'm being honest when I say this, I take deep breaths. I sometimes just take a few deep breaths and I kind of reset myself and I say, it's okay. My ideas will come back to me. And I try not to worry about it because guess what? We all have a ton of stuff going on in our brain, right? That is a great question. I hope it's helpful for you that there's lots of different ways that you can get unstuck.
That is great advice. I love that. Thank you, Baldwin. That was a great question. All right, let's move on to Miss Del Razo's class from Los Altos.
Hello, my name is Hayden Pino from Los Altos Elementary, and I'm a fourth grader. And I was wondering, what advice do you have for students who feel shy about sharing their voice?
Oh, I love this question. You have no idea how much I love this question. Thank you to your classroom at Los Altos. Listen, we all share our voice in different ways. Sometimes it's a great big voice. Sometimes it's a much quieter voice. Sometimes people represent themselves through dance or movement or sports or art. And that's okay. We all do it in different ways. And when I was teaching first grade, I had some students who were very shy and didn't want to use their voice. And I said, that's okay. Swallow, take a breath, share when you feel ready. And we learned to give each other space and respect each other. And also, as a teacher, I let my kids choose sometimes how they wanted to share things. And we were using tools and devices and iPads and laptops, just like you do in your classrooms, and different tablets or mobile devices. Sometimes they did it with their voice, or sometimes they did it with paper and pencil. Sometimes they drew pictures, and sometimes they recorded themselves. As an adult, I use lots of different ways to share my voice. And as we're going to school and learning these things, we're also learning about different ways that we can represent ourselves, right? You can learn how to represent yourself. I can learn how to represent myself. So for anybody who is feeling shy or doesn't necessarily want to have that great, big, loud voice, I want to remind you that's okay, because people share in different ways, but your voice matters. Your voice is important. Your voice has value, because what it's doing is sharing you. It's sharing your thoughts. It's sharing your learning. It's sharing your feelings. It's sharing how you experience the world. And that's important as we all learn with and from each other. So if it's a great big voice or a smaller, quieter voice, it deserves to be celebrated. And as you learn about you and become more confident in using your voice, I hope that you all feel like, yeah, I'm ready to share when I'm ready to share.
I don't know if you're trying to make us cry this morning, Miss Kozma, but
Listen, this is what I mean. And I learned it in my classroom, and I've shared it over the years with the educators and students that I've supported. But these are the beautiful things that make us different and make us unique.
that's beautiful. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to California, Mr. Johnson's class.
Hello. Hello, my name is Phoebe. I'm from California. I'm in elementary school. I'm at third grade. My question is, when we get stuck on something and we need help, what do we do?
Oh, I love this. These are really good questions, because we get stuck. And I know you said, I think you said third grade, right? Is that right? Give me a wave, Mr. Johnson's class. Are y'all third graders? Yay. Okay. That's the first grade I ever taught. I taught third grade, and then I taught first grade for a long, long time. And you know what's cool? Third grade and first grade, right in the middle is second grade. And I have a niece who is in second grade, and I love talking with her. This is her little face right here. She's a second grade student right now, and she loves to draw and she loves to design. And she's just starting to really enjoy reading. But sometimes she feels stuck. And you know, I say to her, Emery, it's okay. Keep going. Try something new. Don't give up. Those are like mantras. Those are things that we can repeat to ourselves that make us feel stronger or make us feel more prepared, or a way we can encourage ourselves. So kind of like when I said earlier, sometimes I just take a deep breath, but inside my head, I say, it's okay. I've got this. I've got this. And I like to think that anything that moves me forward, even if I trip, even if I fall, I'm still moving forward. So sometimes when you feel stuck, it just takes a little bit of courage to take one step in a new direction. Because you know what that one step does? It opens up all kinds of new possibility. And those are also things we're learning as we continue to get older and have experiences and build our brain power. So if you're ever feeling stuck, remember, you're strong, you're courageous. Take one step forward and keep trying. And I think it'll start to unstick for you and you can keep going. I love that question. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, last but not least, from Fairgrove, we have Miss Nelson's class.
I see you all waving in there while you're, yeah. Oh, I see you. Yep, you got it.
Okay, there we go. Okay, go
My
ahead.
name's Aiden from Miss Nelson's class, and my question is, why do you think it's important for students to tell their stories?
Oh, these are great questions. You all asked such great questions. You know why I think it's important for everybody to tell their story? Every story is different, and we can learn with and from each other. And I mean it when I say that. I don't have all the answers, even though I'm a grown-up, I'm an adult. I don't know everything there is to know. I am a lifelong learner. And that's what we want for you also. We want you to be a lifelong learner because your story is constantly changing and you're growing every day. You're building your brain power and you're experiencing new things. So the reason it's important to tell your story is because your story is special. Your story is unique. Your story is yours, and you can choose to share it in your own way. And I think the one thing that for me, this really truly represents, and the teachers and the adults on this call know that I like to think that we are better together. And what that means is everybody on this planet has the opportunity to learn with and from each other. And something like this during, whether it's Hispanic Heritage Month or Filipino American History Month, or different times we recognize different cultures and heritages around the world, it is a learning opportunity because everybody's story is different than mine. And my story is different than yours. But we can learn with and from each other, and that makes us better together. So I love that question. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that question.
Wow, these were great questions. Ricardo, do we have time for one question from the comments? All right, so we have one more question from the comments.
Ooh.
What are some of the benefits of using AI?
I love this. So the way I use AI is a thought partner. I know that AI is never going to replace my brain or my brain power or my heart or what makes me human or what makes me unique. But I use AI sometimes as a creative thought partner. And I love to talk like a speaking language to it. Hey, help me think about. Or I'm wondering could you explain something to me? So I'm not using AI in a way to replace my brain power. I'm using AI in a way to help me think about something. There's also really cool ways that AI can be a helper with other tasks. Now, sometimes here's a big piece of information. I need you to make it a lot shorter. And that's like my workflow and how I might use it to change my workflow. Here's another way I used AI. I have a dad. My dad is 82 years old. So he's a grandpa. He's an older gentleman. And we were doing something and I was trying to help explain something to him. And it was so difficult. All of us were having a really hard time understanding it. And I asked AI to help explain it to us in a way that a fifth grader would understand. And it was really cool because AI took the information and changed it so that I understood it in a much more simple way so I could help my dad understand it. And it was all about stuff for one of his doctor's appointments. And sometimes that's vocabulary and language that I don't know. So I needed help from the artificial intelligence for me to understand that medical language. So from a thought partner to a creative influence to a support for understanding something, I love exploring the possibilities of AI, but I know it can never replace my brain power or the feelings I have in my heart. And the reason I love using AI inside of Adobe Express for Education is exactly what I told you. We've designed it responsibly for K-12. You're experiencing a student version of it. We're not giving you the ends of the internet or all kinds of possibilities. You have a built-out sandboxed experience that keeps you using it in a responsible way, but also gives you a ton of creative flexibility to learn how to use it, to create with it, to personalize content, and let your imagination, bring you to new places in learning. So those are some things I love about AI. That was a really great question.
Wow, such an exciting time for our kids, and our teachers, I'm sure, are comforted by the protection that Adobe provides when it comes to AI. All right, so great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We are going to do our raffle. We're only going to do 2 today because we're going to do a bigger raffle when you submit your projects. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 for today, and then after that, we're going to have our director come back in and wrap things up for us. So Mr. Racinos, let's see, who is our first winner for today? I thought it was me for a quick minute. Miss Helen Pack's class, congratulations. You are our very first winners. Miss Ann Kozma has put together awesome swag for your class, so expect that from us. Let's do 1 more for today, and we'll do a few more after we submit. Mr. Ron Espiritu has the best luck because he wins every single time. I'm not quite sure how that works, but I know him. He's going to say to do it again, so it goes to a classroom.
Pass it to a classroom.
We didn't get our music this time. That's it. All right, Veronica Razo's class, congratulations. You are number 2. Mr. Smith, I hope we're writing these down. Please expect some swag from Adobe straight from Ann. So thank you so much. And everyone, please have fun with this project. We're going to send you more instructions, submit it, and have a chance to meet Ann in person and get more swag. And so I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Lily, to Ms.
Hi, Ms. Kozma. Thank you, team. I first wanted to say thank you to all the team, our tech tosters that put all this together. Ms. Kozma, thank you for being a part of this wonderful. I was having such a good time watching how you're changing the fonts. And Mr. Espiritu, Mr. Barraza, and our wonderful classes. Awesome for participating, and thank you for being here. I cannot wait to see all of the entries. I cannot wait to see your patch, and I cannot wait to see. I wonder if we can do something with Hacienda La Puente quilt. Not just a school, maybe a school, then a Hacienda La Puente quilt. Cannot wait to see everyone's submissions. Again, thank you, Ms. Kozma. You were amazing. Thank you for reminding us about being true to ourselves and being who we are and being just amazing people that you all are. And let's have a wonderful beginning of the week. It's going to be a great week because we started off right with Ms. Kozma. Thank you so much, everyone. See you all.
Thank you, everyone.